Good morning, guys. This is Nuke coming at you. I just got done wrapping up my pre-market analysis here, and I know it's late. I had a very late night. It was kind of a shit day for us. We had some veteran issues came up. It's a bad time of the year for quite a few of them, and that kept me up till about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I tried to get up for about 4:45, but hour and a half of sleep or so just wasn't happening. Anyway, with that being said, I didn't want to shortchange y'all, so we're going to go through the exact same process that I would each and every morning. I'm going to show you all of my measurements and analysis is going to be as of 5 a.m. this morning. I just go back in the time frame. I'll mark it out there. We're still early in the day, but I just wanted to do this for posterity so y'all can see that the methodology is the same each and every day. I lucked up. It was kind of a shit day for the market, it looks like, so I really didn't miss much. Guess I'm lucky like that. And we're going to get on into this without any further beating around the bush. I'm already wearing the computer glasses this early in the morning. Eyes are hurting. It's just, it's a rough day all around. Okay, we're going to start on the lower priced end, and I got to find it. This is a stock that I could not find the means to get back into yesterday. NBEV, New Age Beverage Corporation. Pre-market action had it at a support level of around $4.48. Pre-market resistance of around $5.10 as of 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then we didn't see a huge amount of volume. All in all, this thing jumped up real high in volume from nowhere. Had a lot of action, and you can see it quickly faded back down. So what I would expect to see is not much of a break anywhere outside of the pre-market action. I don't expect to see it anywhere near the 100% above or the 100% below. I think this is about the range that we're going to expect. It's going to probably, most likely, if I was to make my own judgment call on where this thing's going to be, it's going to be a turd all day. I wouldn't worry about it. But it is a cheap turd, so you can do wonders sometimes just by playing reasonably priced tickers. Next up, we're going to look at, let's go ahead and look at it on the daily. On the daily, this thing has just ramped up huge, then it gapped back down. It's kind of doing some consolidating. If market sentiment doesn't get behind this thing soon, I expect to see it get just face force fed down to penny stock land, and it will stay there. Next up is going to be AMRN. I did nail this one yesterday. And what does our pre-market action look like? Well, didn't have the volume we'd expect, but it is better than some of the other tickers. AMRN Corp. I think this was a pharmaceutical company. They spike up, then they taper down, and you can see that on the daily price action, just how it came out of nowhere. But each day for the last 3 days, it's tapered off greatly, even though the price is going up. So the pre-market action got a lot lesser. Pre-market action for the resistance on the high side put it at $13.19 in the morning around the 5 a.m. It just kind of started taking off from that previous support of around $12.72. What it did, it broke the pre-market resistance at the bell. It tried to push up, dropped back down a little bit, came back, broke through that pre-market resistance and held it. So I would expect to see this thing not go a whole lot higher. If the charts were working better and the timestamps would have been a little more appropriate, this offset would just be up to here, so it would look right. But generally speaking, it's pretty accurate. It just, this pre-market action should have been shifted, I want to say up, but I could be wrong. It could be down. TOS charting has just been off all day. Yeah, so that top line would have been here, and then this bottom line would have been here. But either way, the actual main body of the candle should have filled up one of these sections. Not too bad for the range analysis, but because of the TOS charting issues this morning, the range is just in the wrong location. Just like shooting rifles. Once you get it tuned in and you get her to shoot a group, you just learn to move where the scope points the group at. Good Lord, these charting issues. So this thing has been all over the place with, I'm going to have to redraw this for you. Just US charting today. It has been garbage. Garbage. So luckily it doesn't take as long to do this. So what AMD has done, we're moving up into my next price bracket, which is going to be the $15 to $45 price range. And we only have one in here. That was AMD. Pre-market resistance was at 32.80. It did not manage to break that so far. 32.28 was the pre-market support. And then 100% below is at 31.74. Came down, retested. And if you really wanted to get into this, we can go into it now. You draw yourself a support line from here to across this first peak where it comes up. And then generally speaking, this thing has been on a downward trend all day. So if you're looking to short this thing, this was safe. If it drops out of this resistance and goes down, once it makes it back up above this, what would currently be a support line for the short, this would turn into a, currently this would be a resistance line on the short. Where's the other way around? God, I can't even think straight, guys. I ain't slept. Bottom line, once it breaks over to this side, don't expect it to drop back down. So for now, you're still safe in it, but we'll see. What does that look like on the daily? Just some consolidation. We were outside the Bollinger Band, had that pull back last week. We gained a little volume. We took a little back over the last 2 days. I expect to see this thing ping pong around in here a little bit before it either decides it's going to break to the upside or the downside. So later on today, we'll do the recap, and I'd love to see what the actual grand total of the candle action is. Okay, moving on to the higher dollar stuff. At the $45 to $135 range, we have Square. Square had some reasonable pre-market action, and it was a gainer, kept gapping up a little bit, set in a pre-market resistance point of 97.35 around, it was right before 5 a.m. And then the next step up on that would be the $100 projection up above at 144. It briefly broke out of that pre-market projection, like where it would possibly have gone to into the 100 range. And we're talking just barely breached it. And then it slams back down into support at 94.24. There was a slim chance that this thing could go down to 91.16 on the low side if it manages to break through this support at 94.24. But I just don't see it having the amount of steam it needs to do that. And let's see. Basically, with the gap up yesterday, this is just going to be kind of giving the EMAs on the daily chart a chance to catch up while it consolidates a little bit. So I'm anxious to see what this looks like later on. I want to see the totality of the candle. But these are my better trades for the day. We'll get into the higher price tickers just to cover them. Say we did it. We're here. Let's put some work in, right? All right. Starting off with Facebook, it had the most volume, had the most pre-market volume, good jump in price. I actually wasn't expecting to see this thing breach up into the yellow, so I'm kind of happy about that. The amount of volume, as you can see, just has tapered off this morning. If you're looking at it on the daily, it is nowhere near what other days have been, but the price action was good, which is surprising. So we had set a pre-market support at a low of 164.02. It held that steadily and quickly jumped right up through pre-market resistance at 165.57. Guys, that's kind of one of the benefits of playing these blue chip stocks is even on a bad day, they usually have good range. So the volume might make it a little sketchy for you, just depending. But the range is there. You can make some decent money on these, and they're going to move one way or another, even if there's not much volume in the market. So it broke out of the pre-market resistance, came up, was almost trying to test the pre-market 100, slammed back down, tested the resistance, came back up halfway that Fibonacci, dropped back down. Was like, nope, we are definitely going higher for the day. And if we wanted to mark this out, you can actually draw a reasonable trend line here. So far we're holding above that trend line. If it slams back down to test this trend line, if it bounces off, expect this thing might bump up a little bit more. And then once it breaks down, expect it's going to come back into this pre-market range. But that's what I was looking at. Let's look at it on the daily. Facebook has had the climb up where we were making good profits and it was riding the high side of the Bollinger Bands. And then it had a very steep correction, bounced around, ping-ponged a little bit, had another correction, and then it started to consolidate here on the bottom side of the Bollinger Band. But if you look at it, we are kind of chilling out in the middle. We're not above it. We're not below it. Just a consolidation phase. I'm not really sure right now if this thing's going to continue up higher or if it wants to correct a little bit lower. I'll have to take another look at the Elliott waves. That's a discussion for another day. But the pre-market action so far is filling in really nicely. I look to come back and look at this later. We'll see what we really do by the end of the day. Hey, getting the late start. You know, I love giving you all those predictions and stuff when this whole candle action will be blank. So it's kind of, I know it's a little cheesy, but you guys are smart. Y'all are going to get this. Eventually, the more we do this, you're going to get behind my methodology a little bit. And if you don't agree with it, at least I'll be happy if you understand it. That's all that matters to me. Maybe it'll help some of you, maybe it won't. We'll see where we're at. All right. So Apple, pre-market support of 221.65, pre-market resistance of 222.99, ping-ponged around a little bit. And like some of the other tickers, the price action with the candles was offset a little bit. We had a pre-market high extension, 100% extension to 224.33. Not Facebook's best day, but it still has good range. What does that look like on the daily? After we had been climbing, we had a sharp pullback to correct itself, and then we're kind of consolidating a little bit, but we haven't picked a range on if we're ready to break out and head back up or down. As you can see, the waves here are kind of developing. It's just chopping around a little bit, but still got plenty of price action to make you some money. This is going to be interesting. I doubt you'll see it fill up much more. Where the top of this wick is, I don't think we're going to bust that anytime soon. All right, moving on to BABA. BABA's just kind of been a little out of pocket lately. You know, it's just not been its own true BABA self. Pre-market action had this put at a support of 162. That was from just after close of market yesterday. It didn't go anywhere. Jumped back up to the high side and then kind of fizzled out. Pre-market resistance was around 165.99. It definitely wanted to hold that. Finally broke to the upside, was moving towards that 100% extension at the 169.22, rejected it about 50% of the way, slams back down, but not all the way to the pre-market resistance, and it's kind of petered out and started channel trading there. So if you were going to trend line this thing for the day, where is this even at? I think it's right here. It is really hard to see this just because of the clutter. I know it's busy charts, y'all, but you get used to it after a while. So what does that look like? BABA's really had a sharp correction, and then we kind of bounced around. We'll zoom in and get a look at the action. Last couple of days, you can see this thing's just been chop, chop, chop with smaller bodies, way smaller than what we normally see. So price action looks huge on it. I don't expect to see much more than this range here, and it's offset. I just don't expect a lot of big money to be coming into this today. And the last ticker I have for you guys, let's see, is going to be Netflix. Netflix had a lot of price action with very little pre-market action. So on Netflix, we had a pre-market low of 367 on the 100% down. Pre-market support was actually at 369.20, but the price action and the time on the charts was screwy. The pre-market resistance was at 370.75. Pre-market support, I'm sorry, not support, pre-market 100% projection was at 372.30. As you can see, it blew way through that first thing in the morning, so it threw off my normal charting pattern. But if we take this range that we find here, and we just recorrect for the stupid that happened, oh, I guess that's an ugly line, isn't it? Let's edit that line. You know what? Yeah, we'll have to leave it as line. Off, off. So, yeah, just flipping it around. You reset the range to where it should have been, but I really don't see it getting much outside of this amount of movement right here. It's just, it's not projecting on the direction it needs to be. But you can see how when we kind of move that up, bam. So, anywho, it is what it is. So, can't be right all the time. And charting problems happen, glitches happen. That's how I lost a couple of accounts as glitches. You know, it doesn't mean I was doing something incredibly wrong. My methodology is usually consistent, but you have a glitch you've never seen before, or one you can't control, one you can't get out of. Your trading platform, their servers crash worldwide. C'est la vie. Some things are out of our control. That's why you have to trade small enough that you're not overextending yourself for the really bad time. So in the event you have a bad day, they tend to get really bad in a hurry on you. And that's what you're trying to avoid having yourself, is a really bad day. Or on the daily chart, yeah, you can just see, like, if you took this and shifted it up, it would fill pretty much all of this. So compared to the pre-market action, what we're actually seeing filling out today, it's a very full candle, even though it is much smaller than our previous greens. And the last couple of greens we had after that little correction there, we had a bigger body green, a couple of short reds, a big body green that was smaller than this one little red, and then we're having now I'd call this maybe a medium-sized green, but definitely smaller than this one. Tomorrow I might expect to see an even smaller bodied green candle, if not a red candle. Just depends. The one thing that is saving Netflix is its higher dollar value. Tends to do what it wants, make its own luck, you know, once you get that big. Plus, they've had a few big market deals in the industry. But when you look at how this thing has been riding the Bollinger Band, it's been increasing in price, and then it slammed down for a correction. Immediately ping-pong backed up to the other side of the Bollinger Band. Had a little bit of a consolidation phase. That's all we're going through right now. And if we were to draw this out, I know these kind of really suck, but just kind of where we are at now. Let's just get rid of the lows there. So that's where we're at. We haven't really picked a direction. So once we kind of get up into this area here, I would expect to see this thing either have a huge correction and drop on down with another wave that looks similar to this, or we'll go ahead and gain some footing and have a breakout to the upside and continue that upward price action. But for now, we are just happily trading in the channel. Later on, we'll go over our recap and we'll see where we did here. But yeah, guys, keep the comments coming. If I don't respond to you in the YouTube section, please don't get offended by that. It takes a lot of time to go through those YouTube comments left and right. But I'm over at Boiler Room Trading every single day. We're on Discord. You can hit me up. Let me see. It is Nuke Pound 5239. If you wanted to message me over on Discord, or even better, come on in, try the family out. Move on over to Boiler Room Trading. Very affordable. See what we've got to offer. We've got live morning scanners through Trade Ideas. We have a live chat. We have a pre-market analysis, breakdowns, screen shares going on. Give it a shot. It's running about $30 a month right now. Very affordable compared to what else is out there. We've got a great team. Connor Prolifoni is kind of our founder and benefactor there. Good guy. He's got a very interesting take on things. Has a very good handle on the market. He's a solid trader. And then our entire moderator team there, with Brandon Walsh and Johnny Matrix and myself and Vincey. You've got a wide range of styles, yet somehow we all seem to work really great together. We've got some guys that love the high cap stocks, some guys that love the lower to mid price stocks. We've got guys that prefer shorting. I short, I long. Most of us, I mean, we'll all do a little bit of everything, right? And then I do a lot of Fibonacci compared to the other guys, but all of the other guys do enough Fibonacci that they're competent with it. So we've got a great team, but we all kind of cover the gaps where each other is weak. Come on over and check it out someday. You might find you like it. And if not, you can tune into any of our YouTube channels. I think we're all almost about up and running. I know Connor's been having it on for a while, but Brandon's got his YouTube out. Johnny Matrix, he's starting to do his YouTube with the evening watch list and stuff. And I'm going to be officially rolling my channel out there around October 1st. So I look forward to it, guys. And hopefully we'll see some of you jump on in there. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here, and I'll be back with a recap later today. See ya.